What stood out to you as something that you thought, that's either more closely Catholic, for lack of a better term, than what I normally see in Jesus projects, or that's less Catholic than if it would have been made by someone other than an evangelical?
One of the ways that Catholics pray with Scripture, and this came from St. Ignatius of Loyola, is to read Scripture and read it a couple of times, and then to engage it with imagination, and to really sit in a meditative state and try to put yourself in the scene so that you can imagine the characters. And the Ignatian style of meditation would invite one to listen, imagine what you'd hear, what you'd taste, what you'd smell, what you'd touch. And this seemed almost like that kind of a meditation on Scripture and looking at the world that people would be in. When you do that kind of meditation, you have to do it with some humility, that you're not actually having a vision,
Right.
because there's interpretation going on, and we obviously bring a 21st century mindset and references to it. And I thought the series did some of the same. It's in English that's
Right.
easily accessible today, with patterns of speech that are probably closer to today, but that is an imagining of who these people might have been and what their world would have been like.
Right. So you use the term imagination, and that's something that I think evangelicals traditionally are almost scared of. If you look at art throughout the years, almost all of the great art that's faith-based has come from Catholics. Evangelicals tend to be distrusting of imagery. We sometimes confuse it with idolatry. I have been with evangelicals where we've walked into some of the most beautiful basilicas in the world, and I, as an artist, have been like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I've had other evangelical friends say, this feels wrong. This feels too much of an attempt to try to be beautiful. But there's nothing beautiful in the world. It's all evil. It's all sinful. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but imagination is something that evangelicals sometimes are scared of almost. It's like, no, we got to stick to the words. The words are what matter. And I really love what you just said about this idea of when you're meditating on it, that you're imagining how it could have felt. And I think that's something that we really strive to do in this series, is when I want people to feel, taste, smell. I want to, feel the dust. I want it to feel like what it must have been like back then, to a point. Obviously there's limits, but I think that's one of the biggest differences between Catholics and evangelicals, at least when it comes to art, is you're much more imaginative, and we're scared of that. We're like, well, if we imagine too much, then we're relying on our own human brain, and we can't trust that. So we just need to stick to the text, and that's it.